Last week we had the Constructors' Championship won by McLaren after a 1-2 with Jack and TB. Now, it seems like those are only two drivers with a realistic chance left in the championship. The question becomes, what will happen tonight around Portimao? Round 16 of the season for RPL F1 in Season 12, but also our first race here in 2 seasons. It's been a minute since we've raced around Portugal. And we've raced here on this game in F2, Tier 3 and Tier 2 as season openers. But this will be our first and only go at Portimao on this F1 game. I'm your commentator for tonight, Ryan Searles, and alongside me once and always, RPL Titan Iron. Good to have you. Glad to be a part of the action. Titan, we have some changes ahead of tonight that we'll be talking about quite a bit. One of those changes started on Thursday in Tier 3, and that was Park Ferme on. It seems that George realized there was a glitch with Park Ferme. He said no matter what, whether it's on or off, your car gets retired. Well, we saw yesterday in Tier 2, although that happened to somebody in Tier 3, Tier 2 it did not happen to somebody, and Park Ferme was on. Lennon lost connection to the lobby during, I think, the end of the sprint race. I had a main qualifying. Tried to join, couldn't join at first. Took him a little bit, and he was able to join eventually. He took control, and he finished on the podium. So, no matter whether it's a glitch that's gotten worse since our recent updates to the game, we have Park Ferme back on. One thing we also have on, and we saw this during F2 in Monza, is red flags are on. However, red flags are on reduced. So, if we have a bad enough crash around this circuit, we'll maybe get one, but the walls are kind of far away. But 2 new changes already ahead of tonight's event. It's good to have you.
Yeah, it's good to be back. I wasn't here last week, but I did hear about McLaren getting that 1-2, getting their constructors championship, which is very good. But now it comes down to basically Jack and TB between the two of them on who could possibly win the drivers championship. But also can't discount out Skither at this time either, because he is still in contention. Because, and I mentioned it in the driver's chat, Jack, in order to knock Skither out of the championship, he has to outscore Skither by 13 points in order to successfully knock out Skither to make it just him and TB for the driver's championship. But if Skither can still stay within 12 points of Jack, he still has a chance to get it done. But one thing I've also noticed in regards to Portimao, there's plenty of large runoffs and all that stuff, but I've been seeing in the driver's chat, mainly quite a few of the drivers that race on wheel are actually struggling. They actually have had struggles on this track. So is this going to be, well, not a race of attrition in regards to track limits and stuff, but a race of attrition to keep the car in control?
It may very well be that way. Now, I'll tell you this. Here are some of the drivers on pad. Jack, Cryptic, Egg, KVS, Minico, Ding, and Red Fire. They have not had, those are just some of them, not all of them, but those are some of the drivers who have not been having issues around the circuit. You look at drivers like Alex Norris, JTK, Skither, George. Those are just some of the, Gecko. Those are, I believe Gecko's wheel. But those are just some of the drivers having issues around this circuit. And turn 8, that corner, I believe it's Galp corner. I think the final corner is Samsung. Something like that. I'll have to fully figure it out once this computer finally gets its updates underway. With that said, turn 8, pad traction century, that's what that corner is. And the drivers on pad, if they're racing a wheel driver, they're just going to out traction them like you've never seen before, based on how it's sounding. However, we'll see if anything does change tonight. And this circuit, I feel like I would probably put it maybe second or maybe just now ahead of Bahrain in terms of who you favor in terms of pad or wheel. Bahrain is very pad orientated. This one, safe to say, this game, it's very pad orientated too. A lot of drivers with wheel, especially because the bumps too, having a lot of struggles. Now you mentioned Mexico last week, Titan. One thing I do want to mention that we cannot forget about, with Jack and TB first, it was also KBS in P3. Skither got the pole record and now has 26 poles to his name ahead of Luke Range. You know, also got a nice little record, Alpine. Last week they were on the front row with JTK, and he tied his best ever start. We had some crazy stuff last week, but that was only just part of it. And the race for P4, it was P4. Skither had to get through it somehow, so it became P5. The Red Bull guys, Red Fire, Cryptic, and JTK. A lot of blows there in terms of on-track action, and I would not be surprised to see that happen again tonight. And JTK, very unhappy with some of the results, George as well, but minimal penalties in terms of that. That's because not much was submitted. If there were more clips submitted, I'm sure there'd be more things that would have got people penalized, but that was not the case. And you mentioned constructors and drivers. Leo is still a third in our championship and 92 points back. No team has signed him. McLaren, they won the constructors, but Mercedes, Red Bull, Ferrari, Aston Martin, 33 points separate them for second to fifth. It's a crazy race where the constructors is at, the drivers in the remaining places, as well as Titan last week's racing, whether it be for what was going to be the win, because TB and Jack did battle on track, even though TB had the penalty. The battle for P4, and battles all over, it seemed. We even had a battle between two teammates last week in Haas. So we might have that again tonight, but hopefully we don't have anything than likes of Season 8, if you remember that, in terms of our safety car restarts.
Yeah, very much so. And this track is quite unique and a bit on a technical side. I know the league I raced on this track a little over a month ago. Wasn't easy, I will admit that. And also since we're in with Portugal, you can't also discount the possibility of rain possibly making an appearance at this track. I mean, we had in Season 8, and that was the event where we had an infamous moment with teammates, with TB having a couple of collisions with Jacob Adamzak. But there's also been some great fierce racing between a bunch of these people, and can't wait to see this happen again. But right now, seeing with our lobby right now, we have 17 right now. We're just missing one person at this time, that being Skither, who's currently fourth in the Drivers' Championship. He'll have an easy opportunity to overtake Leo Lund for third in the Drivers' Championship. And I will say this: even though Leo Lund is a reserve, I think it's kind of wild that currently three of the four drivers in the top four of the Drivers' Championship are previous Tier 1 champions.
Yeah, and Jack Miles. Most podiums right now without a championship, almost passing Reese now for fourth place in the all-time points list. Most points without a championship. Soon about to get to know most wins without a championship as well. But we do have full qualifying now. I think that just got changed with Skither here. And we should be getting going very soon. With that said, let's tell you about our Tier 3 and Tier 2 winners so far this weekend. Tier 3, AMS Devon won. Tier 2 yesterday, Torn Penguin won. Can we have a Red Bull sweep for the entire weekend? It'd have to go from either Gecko's point of view or George Up Williams getting a first career win if they were to sweep the weekend. With that being said, let's also go over where some of the drivers are tonight in terms of whether they're missing, reserving, or on loan. We have no Egg, so he's not in VCarb or Red Bull. Willow's here in Mercedes, making his first start since the trade in terms of Well, I shouldn't say since the trade, but since the trade that's got him in Mercedes. Cookie's back, he's in Mercedes as well. Yeah, it was a trade with Ferrari Academy that got him to Aston Martin. Now he's in Mercedes. We have Goatley in the second V-Carb. Danny's not here. Penguin in the other V-Carb as well. Remember, no full-time spot filled in that area. Redfire not having a teammate in this right now. Andrea's not here, so JTK alongside... Netsky alongside JTK. Excuse me, I got that mixed up. Ding and Night Owl in Aston Martin. Night Owl is making his Tier 1 debut, and he's the Tier 2 championship leader. It was this race that his teammate caused a collision with Jordan, and it sent Night Owl out of the race. Either way, that means no Cryptic here because of him in that spot. Minico and Knights and Haas. Alex and Maxwell and Sauber. Maxwell making his return. It's good to see Ferrari Academy having their full-time drivers back in the swing of things. They've had a lot of moments where they've had to have reserves jump in. And the only one missing ahead of Q1 is the second Williams.
Yeah, I saw in the line in the lineups that they don't have one available, but I do know that come the next game, we're gonna have a whole plethora of changes. More than likely, I know for a fact, probably at some point soon, for the commentary's sake, I will probably ask everybody to let them know, find out who's in what for next season, for next game, and we'll share that in a future stream. That's for sure.
Yes, and you know what that does mean in terms of Park Ferme being on? It does mean that you can't go out there, do an outlap, and then leave the lobby until the end of qualifying. You have to be in. And that's just because you don't really want to risk it. Now, because the stupid computers continue to do updates, I cannot check the Twitch chat, and I cannot check the weather from different drivers on the stream. So I'll just have to wait on that aspect. Alrighty. Well, what I will ask, though, from the Twitch chat, even though I can't see it right now, I do want to ask you guys, who do you think will be knocked out in Q1? In terms of our headlines, penalties, and changes, though, I want to go over just a few things here. Last week, we had no more Formula 2. That was officially announced. Owen still has a qualifying ban to serve. And Roman, AFJ, Pascal still have to serve their season ban, and that'll be lifted at the end of this game cycle. I think that's it, but 4 more rounds after tonight of RPL F1 in Season 12. We have China, Vegas, Brazil, and Abu Dhabi. And right now, we're about to get round 16 qualifying kicked underway with Aaron Maxwell G on the circuit. And one of his most successful seasons in RPL was Season 5. And you spoke about rain at the circuit, Titan. We had some rain back in Season 5 here as well.
That's right. That's right. I did forget about that.
Well, it does make sense because Jack Miles was a streamer that day. No rain. Boring, Minico says.
Yeah, I was trying to find Reese's Twitch, but I can't. I'm having trouble finding him.
He's not even racing Tier 1 anymore.
Oh, for fuck's sake! I meant Cookie. Sorry.
KVS.
I was trying to find Cookie, but I'm having a little trouble finding him.
Yeah, that's okay. KVS is one, by the way.
Oh, KVS is on too. I forgot. I don't have him.
Righty. Aaron Maxwell G for Kick Sauber. We'll have to pull off a miracle for this team if they want to get out of Q1. But let's talk about after Q1 first. This team has not reached Q3 since Spa last season, 24 rounds ago. That was with TS Korsman. They've had a long drought of not being in Q3. I don't know if it's going to come from Aaron Maxwell G tonight, but it would be nice to see this guy get into Q3. Well, first you got to get past Q1, and let's go on board with the Swedish driver. Entering turn 5. I think this section right here is going to be a place where you see a lot of overtaking, but it's up here where you might see a lot of track limit penalties.
In regards to this track, and for the track limit penalties, turns 1 and 2 are definitely ones to keep an eye on for track limit warnings and penalties. Turn 4 is another, and currently right on the exit where Maxwell just hit now. That's also another area to be careful of. I believe that is turn 9 or turn 10, the Portimao corner.
Either way, we're about to come through, I believe it's Samsung. It's going to be the final
Yes.
corner. Flat out here, by the way. You won't see any of the drivers lifting, but it's like a roller coaster. Overtake button non-use. Exiting the final corner. DRS applied our benchmark 17.4. Next up, we have a Haas driver, and that is Minako. He's starting a lap. Behind that, Jack, who's starting one. And I believe we'll go to the V-carb of Torn Penguin. No, Gecko. No, George, I'm lying. I like lying, I guess. Alex Norris. He'll be next. And how is he in comparison to the teammate? 17.2. Almost 2/10 clear of the teammate. I believe we have an Alpine next. I believe that should be JTK. Interlap.
Yep.
Who should we go on board with? Somebody on softs. How about on his Tier 1 debut, we look at Night Owl crossing next.
Yeah, Night Owl really showing some strides in regards to his time in Tier 2. He is one of a couple of individuals that could possibly be banned from Tier 2 for being too quick, but if that winds up happening, I mean, Night Owl will probably have some opportunities to see if he can find a spot in a Tier 1 team. That's for sure.
Cross the line, HSR Gecko comes. He'll go fastest. 16-0. And you know what I find interesting, Titan? Gecko's full-time V-carb to finish out the season. When he has gone into the Red Bull, not when he's full-time, but gone into the Red Bull, he has done a lot better compared to when he was full-time in that car. Jack Miles across the line now, getting a major toe. Look at this! It's not even on purpose. It's from the V-carb crossing the line, and Jack Miles, 9,000 soft Gecko. Can you imagine if he had a toe a little earlier on? Maybe he could have gone to our top spot as TB invalidates. Whoa! Penguin spinning. Luckily, he kept it straight. Fair play. How about we go on board with our driver who sparked a bit of headlines here back in Season 8. Cookie, going on the front row with an Alfa Romeo. Now called
Oh,
second.
yes.
Can't forget that either.
No,
How about you take this
that
one,
was an
Titan?
incredible one. Yeah, here goes Cookie navigating through turns 1, 2, and 3 into the brakes, down to second gear, shifts up to third on the exit. Now up through 4, up to 5th. Not too bad, keeping it in control through that hill. Now into turn 5, heavy braking zone into here. Just keeps that into the hot lap, and now back up into the gears. The RPMs run through 6. Now into 7 and 8, double left, double right, sorry. Just down to 5th gear. Up the roller coaster hill we go into 8. And now heading up to the Portimao corner of 9 and 10. Knights comes across the line. He's in P3 for the time.
Wow.
About 8/10 behind Jack at this present moment. Not bad for him there. As we're now
That's a monstrous lap.
Yes, it is. Cookie now heading into the penultimate corner. Samsung. Now back up to the gears. Step to 5th. Overtake engaged. 7th. Engages off the overtake. It now back on it again. Flying on through and comes across the line. He is 3rd fastest. Only 2/10 behind Jack in that Mercedes.
The fake TV is back out on the circuit on a lap. And it was settled between him and Ding for the victory back in Season 8 here. TB also collided with his teammate again in Season 10 here. That time it was Cam. And that was a big drought ended for the Mercedes team outside of the points that day with both cars. So it was a race to forget for TB. But hopefully tonight is one step better. You could just hope. And we have a total of 13 drivers clocking in times, but a little wiggle wobble, a little upset rear there from TB. He'll figure that out, though. Luckily, it's only his first lap, so he can go out again if he'd like to, but he'd probably prefer not to. Especially considering with this car, you can get through on pure pace on the first go. Very bumpy ride there, exiting the final corner. And across the line, although he had that moment, he is only less than 2/10, actually, a little more than 2/10 behind his teammate. Speaking of teammates, Torn Penguin, he's got a lap on our board that is finally representable, while his teammate is starting one here soon. We'll go back to another driver on a lap, this time the podium man from last week, Titan, NRM KVS. And you gotta wonder, the driver from Finland, when can he finish on the top step of the podium? He's had 9 podiums. Jack Miles took 14 times on the podium before winning his first race.
Yeah, I mean it could happen at any point soon for KVS, especially with the rights that he's been given. He's in Ferrari now until the end of the season, and then next game might be a little trickier because I could be incorrect on this. KVS is going to V-Carb next season. Is that correct?
Correct.
So, I mean, V-Carbs, well, unless your name is Leo Lund, is not a good contender to probably get for a top step on the podium. But if KVS really does show his stride in the V-Carb, while one of Egg's Red Bulls is, I'm just gonna say it bluntly, just sucks, then KVS can probably get slapped up into the Red Bull, and then that's where we could see the opportunity of KVS possibly getting his win. Will it happen before next? Will it happen next game, or could he possibly win it before next game? Who knows? Only time can tell. But one thing I can tell, both McLarens and the Red Bull of Gecko, they have called it for Q1. They believe they've done enough.
JTK, the Rockstar qualifying last week on a lap right now. And for JTK's case, the question will become, can he pull off some magic like he did here in Tier 2? Remember, that race he was running line. This one he's on, that race he was on no line. This race he's running line. And that's the difference with him running Tier 2 compared to back in Tier 1. And he's had 3 top 6 finishes for Alpine, but right now he's only 13th fastest, and he's behind both Saubers. So not where he'd want to be, but obviously improvements can be made. Goatley off in the gravel. I think just trying to get out of the way of the teammate, or trying to start a lap, maybe behind the teammate. He did have a moment, though. You saw him back on 100% ERS while on a lap, so he had to back off there. Someone who didn't is George Williams, crossing the line now. Overtake button on use, and he'll go 7th fastest. 4.5 tenths off of his teammate. Not bad right there. We'll switch to Goatley, who is down in 17th and facing elimination right now. Miniko, Netsky, Skither also in that bottom 4 with him.
Well, don't forget, Netsky is a last second reserve because originally it was going to be Rowley in the car, but Rowley backed out. I only found out about Rowley backing out about 15 minutes before the lobby opened. So I was like, okay, we need to find somebody like now. So Netsky stepped up and volunteered, but unfortunately, when he stepped up to volunteer, lobby was already open, so Netsky has qualifying ban to do so. So Netsky will be starting in dead last, but the question is who will join him. But currently, right now, it's Miko, Goatley, and Skither it's yet to even come out at this present moment. But there is just under 7 minutes to go in Q1, so there's still a decent amount of time for Skither to come out and get a lap done. Practically about a minute and a half, minute 40 for the track.
One more corner to go for the American. Last week, I believe it was his first Q3 appearance in Tier 1. He'll cross the line. He's safely in Q2 for right now, but still more drivers need to clock in times. Someone who really does now is Ding, put in that bottom 4, invalidated lap time moments ago, and he's another driver who's going to have to go out again. Maxwell might not. Both Sauber safely in that top 12 right now. Alex, P10, Maxwell, P12. This is a really good effort from the Kick Sauber cars, and if they may get back into Q3, this might be the circuit to do it at.
Yeah, Ding is right now currently in the bottom 5, and he is going to be going on to another lap after invalidating his previous one. He's got quite a bit. He's starting with a good amount of battery available to him. Skither is now out onto the track as well. So let's see what Ding's got as he's going out through turn 4, down the DRS into the heavy braking, about half a second up. So he doesn't. Right now it's improvement, but he's staying where he is. He's got to get about 1.4 seconds in order to disrupt JTK.
Ding. This race, 4 seasons ago, was probably the last time he could say at this circuit he's had something go right. But remember, we've also not ran many races at the circuit. You got to go all the way back to Season 5 when we started here, and, well, the last time we ran here is Season 10. We've had a lot of time on and off at the circuit, and Ding will try to use the best of it to his ability in terms of pad traction. And that sector was an improvement from Ding. Right now, his teammate's 8th fastest, and we're going to see what the comparison is, but Ding across the line, overtake button on use, burning all that battery, rear wing open, and
There
it's
you
8th,
go.
ahead of Night Owl by 2.5 tenths. And with Night Owl, by the way, he's not used to running ABS off. This will be his first race with ABS off, I believe. So he'll have a little bit to prove right there. I think Skidder just had a small screen freeze, but he'll now start a lap. He's also another driver facing elimination. 4.5 minutes remain. Turn 1 right here. I gotta tell you how tricky it is. That inside curb, you want to touch it, but you don't hit the yellow part. I guess at USA, the Texas circuit, they used to call those Verstappers because Verstappen went a little wide there back in 2018 and lost the podium. Skidder's not having screen freezes. He's just majorly lagging, but that first sector is full of corners that you can invalidate or have something go wrong, whether it's losing the rear. And, oh boy, Skidder's car disconnects, and he is out of Q1.
So that lag spike caused him to get booted out of the session, and the game automatically, instantly retired him.
Well,
so
his Q1 and qualifying entirely is done. I thought it was screen freezes because he had that issue back in Texas, but now it was clear as day that that was major amount of lag for Skidder, and, well, his qualifying session is done. He'll have to find a way to rejoin. JTK's on a lap. He's in that bottom 4 Titan in that relegation zone, and he is finding time, so it's going to put Goatley down there. But where does JTK go? Is it safely through like the Saubers seem to be? Or will it be somewhere else? Across the line, 10th fastest. The Saubers may have to go again now.
So apparently, according to the driver chat, the reason Skidder is all over the place is because apparently on his PC, Discord is taking up too much memory. Hence why he was having these screen freezes, and now inevitably wind up him getting booted out. So, I mean, technically that is sort of Skidder's fault to leave that on inactive. But now he's going to have to start all the way in P19, and that is not what he wants, because, like I said, he's at risk of getting knocked out of the World Drivers' Championship.
But also, it's not what Ferrari wanted either. NRMKBS does not have a rear gunner for this race now. And 20,000 up is Knights, who's up in 11th. Goatley down in 16th, up by a 10th right now. And turn 5, heavy braking zone right there. Just went through it. Overtake button on use. And we'll go now to 6. And the double right-handers, 7 and 8.
Yeah, Goatley is really gonna have to put some strides here to get himself out of Q1 and into Q2 here. He's got a couple of guys ahead of him, but not far behind. He's got his teammate is literally a quarter of a second ahead of him in 13th. Maxwell very close behind Penguin and Redfire as well involved in there. So Goatley doesn't have much wiggle. Has quite a few ahead and not much of a gap here. But let's see what he's got as he comes down the final corner, firing away, overtaking Gage to fly down the main straight to come across, and he goes P13.
Maxwell in the bubble now. Redfire, Minico, Netsky, they're out on track, but Netsky's in the pit lane, and he is having to retire due to that qualifying ban. So only 2 will go out here on pure pace. Netsky, by the way, finished that race in Zandvoort, which had, I believe, every single Tier 1 driver finish. Minico's on a lap. Knights redoing a lap, you could see. 20,000's up last time. 35,000's down this time. We have a stake crossing the line. That's Maxwell. So that means everybody's on a lap. Alex Norris invalidates, and he's going to have to hope he can somehow get through here. With that being said, everybody on a lap.
3/4 of a second.
Everybody on a lap 11th to 17th. Red Fire down right now. Minico on a lap as we said it, but he's not got a representable time. This is going to be his only one and done, you could say, in a way. Maxwell just crossed the first sector. Goatley's crossing the second sector, trying to get out of the way. Knight's now one of the cars that's going to cross the line first, and it will be the car crossing first since Alex invalidated. Across the line for FRC Knights, currently sitting 11th, could find time, right now safely through. Checkered flag is out. Overtake button on use, fuel running low, and Knights does find time. 9th place. Can his teammate do the same? Minico across, and he does find time. Maxwell's out right now. Torn Penguin across. Goatley's now on the bubble. Torn Penguin found a lot of time. Iran Maxwell G and Red Fire, it's up to them to knock out Goatley and Alex Norris. Maxwell will be the last one across. Red Fire into the wall, and he will not make it through. Maxwell's finding time, and Maxwell does not disrupt Goatley's lap. Goatley made it in by the skin of his teeth, and Kick Sauber, who looked safe, are out with Iran Maxwell G. 1.003 behind HSR Gecko, the top man's lap. And right now, that's what it took. 0.003 the difference between Goatley and Maxwell to make it through to Q2. Both Haas's, though, got laps in, and they are through.
I mean, that is just so incredibly tight between the 2 milliseconds separated Goatley from Maxwell, and that's unfortunate for him to be out. So Maxwell out, Red Fire out, Netsky serving that quality ban, and Skither, unfortunately, out because of a disconnect problem. And what's more wild is that the top 15 going through, exactly 1 second separates them. And the top of the board, it is Gecko, Jack Miles, and KVS.
Here are your results. Maxwell, Red Fire, Netsky, Skither in the relegation zone to end qualifying session number 1. On to Q2. And this time, we'll be eliminating 5 drivers. However, none of them have qualifying bans in this session, so we'll be eliminating 5 drivers on pure pace as well.
Yeah, quite a few. Quite a couple of people will be going out, and we'll have to wait and see who is going to be the ones that will be knocked out. And I actually wonder, with how the Haas has been doing, with Knight's really strong run in regards to that Q1, getting himself in the P9, is there a slight miracle possibility that we could see Knight's pull in a respectable time to put himself into Q3? I mean, that'd be incredible if he does.
We've been saying this a lot, but it's really true. With Skither now out of qualifying, we could be seeing some upsets into Q3 once again. It's just a matter of who it's going to be this time. You have FRC Knights in for Haas, Alex Norris, Night Owl debuted Tier 1. Oh, almost a collision there with Jack Miles and KVS. You have Goatley for VCarb, JTK for Alpine, Minico for Haas, Penguin for VCarb. Penguin won yesterday, congrats to him. We'll just have to find out, and that's a collision. Ding and KVS. This is the second driver to get really close to KVS. This time someone hit him. It was Ding and KVS who made contact. And because of that, KVS and Ding both end up with grid penalties.
Damn.
What happened there?
I'd love to know what happened.
I couldn't see what happened. I was texting back my boss.
Well, I see, good. Well, looks like it was a rear end collision caused by Ding, because Ding
Good chunk of the wing.
Yeah, lost a good chunk of that wing. Definitely.
We'll look back to that in a bit.
Sure.
Yeah, we'll look back to that in a bit. I just want to see if KVS has any damage before looking on Willow's lap. I don't see any from KVS. No. Yeah, no damage for KVS. So Ding must have rammed him. Willow on a lap.
Ding accepted fault. He had a hung throttle.
Oh.
throttle
Well, he's
hung.
lucky to be in this session still then. Willow's on a lap. Turn 7 and turn 8 he's approaching. And Titan, we spoke about entering KVS and the possibility of a first win. I don't think it's out of sight for Willow as well if he has the right circumstances go his way.
Yeah, I believe so as well. I mean, Willow is going to be in the Alpine next season, so this is going to be a good little benchmark for him to play around in. But if he is really showing his stride and doing quite well improvements, then Netsky, Wavy, or myself will be like, hey, this guy's doing pretty good. Let's move him up into a faster car. McLaren or even Mercedes. So it is possible for him, and he sets the benchmark 16.3 for Willow in that Mercedes, and Jack responds going about 3.5 tenths faster in that McLaren.
HSR Gecko now on a lap. George Williams finishing 1. We have 4 drivers who clocked in times. The next is Night Owl, just ahead of Alex Norris. KVS going second fastest after his collision with Ding. Remember, both of them have a 5 place, not just Ding. George across the line. George is 4th fastest. We have Gecko on a lap. Cookie, I think, trying to get back to the pit lane. I don't know if I saw him cut a corner or just trying to get out of the way of the McLaren. That McLaren is TB, and he is on a lap, so that could have been what happened there. And speaking of TB, let's switch to him now. What is our second place man in the championship doing? 2 poles this season, a bumpy ride out of the final corner, but across the line, overtake button on use, and it is 4th fastest. 4.5 tenths behind his teammate, so usually with TB, we'd see him probably 2 tenths, maybe a tenth off his teammate, maybe ahead of his teammate in qualifying. But the difference between pad and wheel really showing itself around this circuit. Minico, 6th fastest. Not bad from the Haas. HSR Gecko's up next as well. And we have all the drivers in that bottom 5, except for Cookie, on outlaps. So everybody is on the circuit, Titan, and exactly where they should be.
Yeah, just switch over to Gecko, who's just coming across the line now. He puts himself up in the third place right now. And I mean, as you mentioned it, TB being about 4.5 tenths behind his teammate right now. I mean, that's literally the gap between the top 5 right now. 4.5 tenths, which is not bad at all. But then if you move Jack off on that equation right now, just a smidge under 3 tenths separates KVS and TB.
Cookie, right now, tried to mash the gas out of turn 8 and almost spun the thing out, and he's having another moment with the rear. Overtake button on use. Samsung corner we go through, and for car number 8, will it be P8 or anything better? I think it'll be better. Look at this. 5th fastest, right behind his teammate. Close action there between him and Willow. Ding is going to cross the sector split soon here. Same with that Red Bull coming in. But Ding right now, 51.5. And we're going to see what these drivers in these bottom 5 spots do end up doing. We only have Alex Norris in 11th, who's completed a lap. Ding, though, I really wonder, although he accepted blame, I really wonder if that's going to become an issue later on. But he invalidates. He went out of bounds. He tried to push the boundaries a little too much. I'm sure he'll come back in the pit lane here, but he wants to see what that lap would have been. What would that lap have been? 16.6, and that would have set him 7th fastest, just ahead of George. So we switched to Goatley coming across the line and right behind the teammates. So although he's behind Penguin, he would have a lap that's good enough for Q3 right now. JTK, he didn't go out of bounds entering the final corner. He'll get a lap in. He'll cross the line. Overtake. All of it's on use. And where will it be? 16.9. 10th fastest for JTK. So we look to Knights then.
Nice. Nice on JTK there. But yeah, Ding, quite unfortunate for that lap to just go horribly hard for that lap. He would have had a good representative time, but he was just a tiny bit too far over going into that final corner, and that is really going to hurt him just a little bit on that. But also, because of that lap, because of where he went off, that lap that he set, that lap he would have set, which got invalidated, the lap that he's currently on now is also invalidated too. So he's going to be trying again, and it looks like he has enough fuel to go for another run.
Knights. 7th fastest for Haas. He said a few weeks ago, I'm basically retired. I feel like it. Well, he's still got something left in him, as they would say. Unk still got it.
Yeah,
Fair play.
very much so.
Let's see, who's on a lap? Night Owl. How about we cover the Australian? And I must say, his form in Tier 2, whether he should be banned or not, it's been quite interesting. You want to talk about pole positions? Well, it feels like TSR Cryptic in terms of pole to win ratio, you know, if you want to compare him to a Tier 1 driver. Oh, major slide there. Rear locked it at turn 3. Could have been session ending for him. Luckily, it wasn't. But for Night Owl's case, he's won a few times, but none of those have come from pole. And although he's down right now in the lap, he still has time to improve on. And Titan, the last, I don't know, I think it's 6, 7 races. I mean, he won the sprint yesterday, but exclude that race, he's basically won. Like 5 of the last, or not 5 of the last 6, sorry. 3 or 4 of the last 6. He's been on a good form. And for Night Owl, he's practically a full race ahead of Reese in the championship, I think. So it's safe to say, even though he's backed out on the lap, that he's been on good form.
I was just on board with TB. He was only a couple milliseconds up in sector 1, but exiting the Portimao corner, his car got really loose and he went off and validated the time. But I mean, even with that, he was still down anyways, despite that little evilness of the car. 600s down. But that was a bit of a hair-raising moment for TB.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Knights
still
right now,
which is nice.
Yeah, Knights, I think there's a little issue for him that I've just noticed. He didn't switch compounds when he went back out on the circuit.
Whoops.
So we'll see if this is up on the time. It is. At least that's what the game is saying. That could be wrong, but it is what it is saying. So he is up on the time right now, and we're going to find out if this is enough time to improve any places. Remember, you could improve your time, but you might not improve any places, and he's backed out on the lap. Let's go on board with HSR Gecko, flying through 7 and 8 now. 65% on that ERS button, uses a bit of it. And now, we'll go to the sector split and see what the comparison is. 5 minutes remaining in Q2. Oh,
Yeah, you're...
two
I see you're on board with Gecko. I am on with Night Owl at the sector 2 split. He is nearly a quarter of a second up. Little loosiness on that one, but he still improves to P9 for Night Owl. Very solid stuff on him in there. But now switch over with Gecko as he comes across, and he goes top of the board.
Impressive stuff from HSR Gecko. We're now riding over JTK, who's in that bottom 5, and got got front row last week, just missing pole in Mexico. Turn 1, right on the ragged edge right there. Turn 2, turn 3 now, almost on the inside curb. Turn 4, you can use a lot of lines here. You can even diamond the corner. DRS applied, overtake on use, almost all of it, and he's a 10th up. But Titan, you very well much know this. Although he's a 10th up and would get into Q3 with this lap, I think there's still more time to find. Aaron Maxwell G, out by 2000s in that Q1 session, easily time to find in terms of where JTK could get through, whether it be top 10 or maybe just barely out. It's going to make a big difference whether it's the thousands or the hundreds, but for JTK, he's a wheel driver, and those thousands and hundreds are going to make a huge difference. 2.5 tenths up almost, and after this qualifying session, by the way, we will be restarting. But let's keep on board with JTK and talk through this lap and see what the Dutchman can or cannot find in this last sector. Overtake button on use already. And across the line, JTK, 8th fastest. He didn't find as much time as I thought he would, but you know what? I still think he's quite vulnerable, because Goatley now 10th. Ding now. DRS applied. And he is plumb last, but he is starting a lap, though, so he backed off on that first lap. We'll keep on board with Ding, though. Wow! Big hit on the curb! He jumped over the curb and went airborne, luckily. He is still going.
That that curb is going to really kill you if you're not careful. But dang, despite that, he's still a 10th up.
And he
Good
didn't
Lord.
invalidate. How did he not invalidate from jumping over the curb like that? Usually when you jump over the curb, you go rear end first around. However, fair play to Ding to keep going. And he's really on the limits, it has to be said. Red Bull almost didn't get out of the way. That was George.
Yeah, George is just being like, well, I'm either on a cool down lap or I'm just relaxed and I don't want to
Calm
get in the
before the
way
storm,
and
they
cause any
say.
trouble. Yeah.
1 second up for Ding, and right now this would get him either barely in or barely out into Q3. Ding crossing this time with one more corner to navigate, using all the battery. He has so much left in the tank, he can use it all. DRS will be applied in just a moment, across the line. Huge lap, third fastest for Ding, the Season 1 champion. Torn Penguin's up. Goatly is on another one. He needs to be on another one because he is definitely out now.
You know, that kind of a lap, it basically, if we had to steal a quote from the Honey Badger, Daniel Ricciardo, Ding will a lap like that. He's probably like, for those that think I have left, I never left.
He licked the stamp and sent that lap for sure. We have
Yes.
Minico crossing to start a lap. Torn Penguin is down. He's going to redo this lap. Alex Norris finding a 10th in the first sector. Goatly invalidated. But Goatly will have time to go again. He's just got to make sure that this cooldown lap is just good enough. TB up to third. Is Cookie or anyone improving? Cookie, 27,000 up. JTK, he retired. He may be safe or maybe not safe. Night Owl on debut out in Q1. Or sorry, Q2. Made it past Q1 though. FRC Knights on the bubble, currently finding just a little bit of time.
Alex Norris has
to
3.5 tenths up.
And this could put Kick Sauber back in Q3. If he does find time in that last sector, this would do it. And look at the battery he has left. Just like Ding, he can burn all that battery exiting the final corner. He'll get a slight toe from this Aston Martin. Won't be enough though. Will it be enough though to get through Q3? We'll find out. Alex Norris, not in. Barely out. Checker flag is out. And who is going to get through? Who is not? FRC Knights is finding time. Cookie across the line. And Cookie does find time. He's third. FRC Knights is next with Minico. Minico's out. Knights is in.
Let's see what Torn Penguin's got. He's almost a quarter of a second up after Sector 2. So he's got to find just about a 10th more if he wants to get JTK knocked out of here. Well, let's see what Torn Penguin's got out of the final corner. Can he get himself into Q3, get V-Carb into Q3? The answer is no. He just misses by 0.06 of a second.
JTK by the skin of his teeth. Threading the needle, getting into Q3. Out in Q2. Goatly and Torn Penguin, both the teammates. Torn Penguin, our winner yesterday from Tier 2. Alex Norris out for Sauber with the same exact lap time as Minico, his academy teammate. Minico also out. He said qualifying's not his thing. He really showed that tonight. Night Owl also out on his Tier 1 debut. Yeah. Our top three from Q2, Gecko, Jack, and Cookie. Although Ding and KVS have those grid penalties, we will be restarting. We'll get some clarity on whether or not those grid penalties will be enforced. But we did say some upsets were going to happen. And our upsets into Q3. FRC Knights. He's still got it in him. Q3 for the Haas driver. And JTK. Although he's on wheel here, he did find the time in the Alpine. Didn't have the monster slap like last week in Q2 and Q3. But we'll see if he could do so in Q3 this time. And, eliminated. Torn Penguin, Goatly, both for V-Carb. Haas, Sauber, both part of Ferrari Academy. Minico, Alex. And Night Owl, Aston Martin driver, Australian/British driver on Tier 1 debut. So, I do have my computer fully restarted to where I can see your Twitch chat messages here for Q3. Whether it's us commentators or you folks in the chat, please leave your predictions in the Twitch chat. and we'll go through them at the end of our session, or maybe during our session, on who you think will be in the top 3, or if you want to go top 5, be my guest. But, Titan, who would you say was the surprise of Q2 there? Because for me, it was
FRC Knights for sure. No doubt in my
was
mind,
Knights
it's
for me.
FRC Knights. He has definitely been the surprise of this session.
And can
No
he
doubt
translate
about
that into Q3? That will now become the question. If he can, fair play. But this is the second week in a row we've had a Haas make Q3. And Minako, not really happy. He's calling himself some expletives that we're not going to share on stream, but either way, he's not happy with himself. Can you blame him? He could have got through, maybe.
Anything is possible, but I mean, Minako really can't beat himself up over stuff like that. I mean, he's had moments where he was really good on the track and doing really well in qualifying, and sometimes those moments don't seem to come right and even misfire for you. Just don't beat yourself up over it. You got more opportunities. You got more chances to shine. Just hunker down and power on in.
I'm going to have you take coverage on this first lap with our championship leader, Jack Miles. This will be our benchmark for Q3 and our benchmark for pole. As well, keep in mind, some drivers will be on used sets, some drivers might not be. But here we go. Jack Miles is yours.
Alright, so Jack currently flying down the main straightaway. TRS active, hot lap on. Gets there about 202, heading into the first turn. Turns 1, turn 2, then into turn 3. And now in turn number 4. And nice and easy there. DRS engaged, GTK getting out of the way. And Jack into the heavy braking zone. Stays in 7th gear into that heavy braking zone of turn 5. Now through 6, and then through 7 and 8. 7th gear again. Doesn't downshift in 7, but does in 8. Now up the roller coaster hill. Up, down we go. Into turn 9. Heading into Portimao. Turn 10 and 11. Flying on in and flying on out. 50.8 for the sector 2 split time. Now into 11 and 12. For KVS right on his back end too. So KVS really gets some nice toe on the straights, but hindered a little bit in the corners perhaps, with a little bit of understeer in the wake of the car ahead, as Jeff would say. Jack coming across, flying away, and it's a 15.7 for Jack for the benchmark, and KVS 600th behind him.
Let's see what the Red Bulls have going on. A little slipstream game here for them. Gecko first, George next. Gecko across the line, and Gecko goes provisional pole. George, slowest of them all so far. Next up is a Mercedes driver. It's Willow, and he will be starting one, it seems. We'll switch to Ding then. Ding has had quite the chaotic qualifying session, whether it's the grid pattern, the invalidations, the throttle being hung, but across the line, he'll go 4th fastest. Next up is TB, with Cookie to come as well. TB slots in 4th. Cookie goes provisional pole now. Cookie trying to return to pole for the first time since Abu Dhabi at the end of last season. Knights is 8th, and JTK is our last one across. Let's see what the sector split is. 51.5. Let's see how that compares to others. Cookie 21.5, JTK 21.8. 29.6 from JTK, 29.2 from Cookie. So this is looking to be around FRC Knights' range. Cookie provisional pole on our first go.
Yeah, JTK is currently about 6-7 tenths off of Jack at that split. But let's see what JTK's got as he comes across. Should be around FRC Knights. And the answer is yes. 16.8 for him. But there's a decent little gap between JTK and George. About half a second separates them. But we'll see some more fine-tuning and these times changing up as these laps start to filter and get on through here. Willow, where is he? He's just coming across the line to get a more representable lap. He's 7th, 3 thousandths of a second behind Ding at this present moment. He's down in P7.
Cookie, last time we were here, was on pole position. This time, in that Mercedes, on pole position and almost hitting the back of the McLaren. That was TB. Let's see, is anybody else on another lap? No, we're all in laps. So, Titan, I want to ask your thoughts on this. We spoke about this ahead of qualifying. Parc Ferme on tonight. I don't think we have much to talk about there, but red flags unreduced for tonight. We've only had the red flag, per the game at least, come out in one Tier 1 race. That was Season 9 Australia. I mean, are we going to see that happen again, maybe? I know that was a glitch, but still.
Yeah, it was a nasty glitch. It was because they lined up in the formation, in the formation lap. They lined up, and then before the lights even went out, they just red flagged it. It was a load of crap. It was probably one of the stupidest starts to ever have for a season, you know. But
you know,
I mean, with the red flags, I figured it out. I think maybe it's because with the rain being in, it just screws with the complexity of the red flags making an appearance. I mean, would a red flag possibly appear here? Probably not. Because these drivers, these are Tier 1 drivers. They are the pros.
Yeah, I know.
They're pros, the best of the best, the creme of the creme. They
We've
know
still
what
had
they're
some
doing.
major incidents, though, at times, Titan.
Yeah,
You can't deny
don't.
that.
Yeah, but they don't resort to stupidity like instance like some people do.
Well, we don't have Leo, Pascal, Roman, or anybody on the grid to disrupt anybody, whether it's an accident or purpose. I mean,
Well, we also don't
just
have
saying.
Leon in Tier 1. You know,
God bless America.
He'll probably like if he wound up smacking somebody in Portimao, he'd be kicking them. He kicked them from Portimao to Monza or something.
Luckily, even though Leon hit me at turn 1 and spun me, or sorry, turn 2 in Mexico and spun me out, I have to give Leon credit. He's got a lot more cleaner. Jack and KVS both down on their second runs on the
factory.
lap. Well, I feel like there's a certain driver that's taken Leon's place. Whoa, big wiggle from Gecko. A little slide and a half there. Tokyo drifting, turn 3. Gecko's down as well. Although Jack's purple in the second sector, so he is finding some time. I'll talk about this conversation with Leon in a moment, but either way, Jack Miles on a lap and looking to try and beat that first lap he had while he was down in the first sector, still down in the second sector, but had a purple sector too. He'll resort to going back in the pit lane. He has backed off and aborted that lap time. NRM KVS, though, is not, and we'll see what the finish driver can do. Across the line, KVS will come this time, and he'll come to the pit lane as well. Gecko now, purple in the middle sector. Is he finding time? You bet you he is. He found a lot of time in the second sector. He was down on the first run in the first sector, comparison to the first go at things compared to the second. But Gecko is also coming back in. Oh my days.
Well, I mean, a lot of these guys
George
weren't
now.
improving.
I know they weren't, but that's still funny. And Dom adds himself in that list of drivers. See, I would say we do have a new Leon, but I gotta remember, I race in the same tier as this guy I'm about to name, so I won't do that. But it's quite obvious who it is if you race in that tier. We have Ding on a lap, and he has had a very interesting qualifying session, whether it was Q1, Q2, or, well, so far Q3, it's been quiet. We'll see if it stays that way. Well, he's backed off.
Yeah, I mean, with some of these drivers, they have to get the lines right. They have to make their entries, their exits, the gear changes, just making sure everything is fine-tuned and right. And with little slip-ups and mistakes, it can wind up cost them time and can cost them dearly. But it is not great. It's not great for some of these guys that had to back off, like KVS. Gecko and Jack all returning back to the pits and retrying again. Also, Ding, I know, made a mistake as well. He is definitely made a mistake somewhere in the first sector because he was almost a second down. But
Yeah,
I
I
am
switched
now
off of
back.
him immediately.
Yeah, I'm back on George right now, who's starting a brand spanking new lap.
It'll be Jack, but George is up by 7 thousandths. Something to mention about George, though, and Gecko for Red Bull, is that Red Bull, in terms of poles around this circuit in Tier 1, they are undefeated. They have 4 poles. They're looking for pole number 5 tonight. And we'll keep on board with Georgia Williams because of that. Then we'll switch to Jack Miles. 1.5 minutes remaining. And let's find out who responds and who doesn't. 15.5 right now is our pole. We'll see if we improve. George now coming through the ending bit of Sector 2. He is up on the time. And he is finding time, in fact. But he locks up the brakes there, entering Sector 3. We'll see if that has any difference or not. Drivers completing out laps and now starting their laps. A few queue of cars close to one another, but we have George, one more corner to navigate across the line for the Welshman and our Tier 2 champion who won this race back in Season 5. Across the line, he is going to stay down in 8th.
Oh, that lockup really hurt him, that's for sure. Well, that is not good for him. So it looks like next up is, well, would have been Ding, but he invalidated. Jack now, 600
59 thousandths. And this could be the difference with him maybe getting or maybe not getting back to pole position. It has been 82 races since that last pole. You gotta go back to Season 8 Abu Dhabi. That was the weekend of his first win. Jack Miles, the Welshman. Can he pull off a master class in qualifying once again? A Miles master class has been pulled off. Provisional pole. Will he keep it? Cookie invalidated. Cookie invalidated, but Gecko's up. Gecko's up on a monstrous lap. TB is crossing first. Checkered flag is out. And across the line, the battery on use, and TB does not snatch pole away. We have, up next, a Haas FRC Knights finishing a lap. It's HSR Gecko. Gecko is back on pole. Red Bull remain undefeated in Portimao. NRM KVS is 4th. Can anybody deny Jack Miles a front row once again this season, or HSR Gecko pole? George invalidates. Next is Willow, and then Ding and JTK. Willow, one more corner to navigate. Across the line with the battery below 20%, and Willow jumps up to 6th. 1 place found. Next is Ding. He's finding time. JTK is barely finding any time. JTK, DRS applied. He found a little bit of time. Ding, into the pits. HSR Gecko gives Red Bull their 5th pole in Portimao, and they are undefeated around this circuit. It's Gecko's 3rd pole of the season.
Very, very solid stuff by Gecko to pull off that wild pole and taking it from Jack. So now Jack has to wait another week to get a chance to snap that pole-less drought that he has going on him. But literally, look at the gap between the top 6. Not even half a second between our top 6. Solid stuff. So KVS will be starting in 4th, and Ding will be in 7th. Because we know with their grid penalties they had for that little bash in Q2, before that restart, they're going to get dumped down to P9 and P12.
No, they're not, apparently.
I know. But they won't have that because we're restarting the thing.
Right. I got my top 3 right, but not the order. Well. You got 2 of the top 3.
Yeah, I know. I got P2
Invade got 2 of the top 3. I think that was it of predictions. Fair play.
Yeah, I got Jack dead on right. I got him for P2.
I'd love to see our top 10. Please, load game, please. You saw our top 10 a moment ago.
Well, I have
We'll
it.
just go through it again. I haven't either. We saw it a minute ago, at least in terms of before we got stuck on a black screen.
I got the screenshot of it, so I will. Once it pops up, I will send it to. I'll send it over to Jack and all that stuff.
Gecko
Everyone
back on
retires
pole.
so I don't have to make a new lobby.
And this seems to be a circuit that Gecko has done quite well on. Well, however, I will tell you this. Here is our lineup. HSR Gecko on pole. Jack Miles P2. That will be NRM KVS, I believe, in P3. Either Tim P3, Cookie, whatever. But Cookie, P4, then TB P5. Willow P6. I think Ding would be 6th, 7th. George, JTK, KV, well, Knights, Penguin, and so forth. But the 5 red lights go on, and the restart is happening.
We're just having our fun.
Yeah. Surprised we didn't get a red flag from the game. Look at this, torn penguins on the podium. Ding. That was an actual real throttle hung.
Yeah. We're just having a little bit of fun. We're just having a little bit of fun.
And we will be getting a restart as we said it. However, we spoke about the mention of red flags. Netsky's on the podium, guys. However, I do want to ask your thoughts on something, Titan, before we
don't forget, Netsky and Steve are disconnected, so their cars are. So I
think we're just waiting on either Penguin or somebody. But I do want to ask you, we have no more F2, Titan, for the rest of this. That's a 10-second? All right. We do have no more F2 for the rest of this game cycle. I do want to get your thoughts on that, considering, I'm trying to think. It's just that I'm watching people say, hopefully to Penguin retire. I just want to say...
There we go.
There you go. There you go. I wanted to ask. I was waiting for that.
Penguin, you have 30 seconds to retire or you're banned.
But, I just wanted to say... We didn't have the attendance for F2, and we're not going to be finishing out this game cycle with F2. Titan, you're one of the, I guess you could say, F2 exclusive drivers.
Yep.
Your thoughts, I guess, on F2 not continuing?
It was bound to happen because before the season kicked off, we had I think 60%, at least 60% of the field already set. So yeah, at least 60% of the field was already good to go. So it wasn't gonna really matter. So that's the unfortunate part. But
folks, take a picture. Skether celebrates with Netsky and Penguin alongside him. So realistic.
That's our stream, people. We'll say goodnight.
Good night. Netsky got P2 and Penguin got P3. First tier 1 podiums. Alpine's back on the tier 1 podium. There you go. We'd have a Montenegro and Bosnia driver on the podium.
Alright, so
either way, we'll be getting the grid. But yeah, I agree with you. Invade is joking about Ben Netsky. He got a podium as a tier 3 driver. Don't forget about Penguin for tier 2. No, in all honesty though, yeah, I agree with you on F2. It's a shame. Now, if people want to put the reasoning for that happening down to one reason, I don't agree. I think we have had a variety of reasons as to F2 not having the proper attendance. I think you could put it down to other leagues having issues with attendance. It's not happened to our F1 tiers, but, basically you could say our F1 tiers, our other leagues as F1 tiers is basically how our F2 tier ended up. Times, days, I know it changed. They tried everything they could. Some people don't like the cars. It's just a variety of things. It's not down to one thing, and that's the unfortunate thing. There's not much you can pinpoint it on, which does make it difficult for next game, whether or not it should be back there with F2 cars. But yeah, we'll just enjoy it, I guess, if it does come back.
Oh, waiting on people. See, Nets keep being silly.
Yes, I did see
Nets
that.
keep
I think we're just waiting
putting
on one
himself in
driver
red
to come
pole.
back in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
being Gecko.
it be the Gecko Man.
Apparently, I guess Gecko's having a problem because it won't let him in. Now he's in. Oh wait, I thought he was in, but no, we got Luke watching.
Hi, Luke. Also known as Dingleberry Angle Grinder.
so that sounds like a stripper name at a BDSM club or something.
Can you say that name for me, Titan? Once
What?
more? No,
No,
Luke's name. Luke's name.
no, I ain't saying it. No, I'm past.
Dingleberry Angle Grinder. How about I mean, I thought it was at first when I saw it. I mean, my first instinct was he was mocking Ding's name, but for the sake of it, he should maybe just change it to Angleberry Ding Grinder, just to mess with our heads.
That just sounds wrong.
The whole fun of things, I guess.
That just sounds wrong. Just the thought of it just makes me just. I'm like, ugh.
Gecko's having issues with his game, but while we wait on him, let's tell you our Tier 1 polls this season based on teams. Because actually, this season, we hit a Tier 1 record. Most amount of teams on pole in a singular season. Mercedes and VCarb are tied for the most polls, 4 apiece. Or sorry, Red Bull and VCarb. I'm going a bit nuts.
Oh,
Mercedes have
there we
3.
go.
McLaren have 2. Aston Martin have 2. And Ferrari have 1 pole. We've had 6 teams on poles this season. That's an RPL record. And hopefully we can have another season like that. And Knight said he bottled his lap. He said he might have been P8, might have been P7, but nonetheless, still an impressive effort from the Haas driver. And while we get the grid set, let's tell you about what the strategy is or could be. I believe around this circuit, and I did a tier 3 race here, so I guess I'm a little more reliable for this one. Soft to medium was possible. Now, whether your car can do that will become the question, but yeah, soft to medium, medium to soft, that was possible during our tier 3 race here. And some drivers did do it. Whether some will go for that or not, I'm not sure, because Timbed was one of the tier 3 drivers that ended this race on the hard compound, and Neski was another one too. There were some drivers who felt like they could not do soft medium, but you can around this circuit. And the driver who did medium to soft in tier 3, Mally, he won this race. Obviously that came through the storage room. If you know the story there, don't remind Invade who's watching, but soft medium is going to be the strategy we do likely see. If not, we're going to see medium soft appear up. And we can't really use the tier 2 race as a reference point, Titan, because they had rain at the end of their race. And we have no rain in this race. Hopefully Jack does change the weather. But with that being said, and please, there we go, he did. But with that being said, tier 3s are only reference point to go off of. And with that said, we have to go off of that only. We can't go off of tier 2. And we can't go off of tier 1 last game.
No, we cannot because we weren't at the we weren't. This is the only time we've been at this track for D1. You know, I will say, I think with the new game, probably my best guess is, you know what? I think I'm gonna bring this up actually. With next game, F125. I'm gonna safely speculate that it's gonna come out in the first week or two of June of 2025. And if it does come out in that sense, then I'm gonna say that the RPL season on F125 will kick off at the end of June, maybe beginning of July.
We're going to get loaded in here for 33 laps around Portimao. I'm going to quickly be right back. I'll be back in time for the 5 red lights and everything. But Titan, what do you think is going to happen here on lap 1? In Tier 2, we had a collision on lap 1. George, Polo, and another driver were involved in an accident. Turn 3, we had an incident here in Tier 3, and that involved Netsky and Mythic. In Turn 4, we had Cam and TB last time we were here, back in Season 10. What's this time going to happen, or have happened on lap 1?
I think we're going to be seeing some people jockeying for positions in Turn 1 and into Turn 3. Possibly a collision could happen on that section, but if all else fails, they may keep it well in tuned and all that stuff, I think we could probably see a collision coming up, maybe in Turn 5. I think that's what we're going to see as everyone's getting their sets put in and choosing their tire strategies.
Hey, I'm not the Shorts, Josh. I'm not the one out of context clip farming. I'm doing normal voices or normal accents, I should say, unlike my co-com next to me. No, in all seriousness, we try to have fun while keeping it professional, but if there's a moment I look back at, I just find it then instead of... You can't force one. However, I know there are people who try to. Yeah, we don't have a timer yet, but I do want to mention... I do think track limits tonight is going to be a big factor. I mean, around this circuit, you can leave a lot of racing room for your competitor, but it does get tight. And Turn 8, we see drivers get forced off. Jordan and Ardell had a little beef go on there from lap 1 at Turn 5 all the way to lap 3 or 4 on the main straight. And yeah, Titan, I think Turn 8 is a big talking point. Turn 7, you said the sector split. There's other places as well. But we have a timer counting down. Soft medium is what I'm seeing. Everyone's starting on other soft mediums. Do we have a clean start?
It's RPL. I mean, we could possibly see it, or we could see total chaos. You never know.
And it's time to find out. We return to Portimao for the first time since Season 10. And it's time to bring the action. The 5 red lights are coming on. Head of the drivers, lights out, away we go. And it looks like Gecko got a decent start, but Jack Miles got a better one. Wheel to wheel, 5 wide in the background, but Jack Miles takes the lead, cuts Gecko off, side by side with Cookie and Gecko, who've come to collision many times in the past. This time Cookie is the inside line and propels ahead. Alex and Minico are dropping places, while Maxwell might have been the cause of yellow flags right there. We go through Turn 4, side by side, many rows deep. Skither side by side with Red Fire, and that yellow flag this time was for Minico. Willow gets tagged. I think the V-Carb also did as well. 3 cars ghosted inside one another, exiting Turn 5. A lot of contact down there at the braking zone. Everyone trying to get Woe down.
I was on board with FRC Knights when GTK was battling with Willow. The two had a little collision. The contact model sent Willow into a slide, and Knights nowhere to go. Contact with Willow, and that resulted in that little pitch there. But yeah, Jack had a phenomenal start, and then Gecko got swallowed up in Turn 3. Cookie saw an opportunity and was like, "Hello, I'll play here," and he took good advantage of it in the second place. And yeah, I think we still have some more fighting around, possibly.
A lot of racy action here at the back of our field. Minico and Penguin lost the most places. Willow, you mentioned him, he lost 3. George, Cookie, they're up 2. Skither's now up 8. He gets the overtake done on Goatley down the main straight. Red Fire's up 3. And Maxwell finally gets Netsky. Maxwell had a little up and down start. So did Minico. We're racing it out for 5th place. TB and George. Alex down the field. Alex has spun out. But we keep on with George and TB. Collision almost! George and TB make contact. A little bash and bang into the corner. TB keeps the place.
I just caught in the just the tail end of it in the foreground. I believe I saw George look like did an attack on the inside and something went wrong.
TB turned in when George was there. That's how I see it, but I could be wrong. I don't know. Did George have the audacity to go for the space? He felt like it. And we have Maxwell and Night Owl trading spots. We have Miniko getting Netsky. We have action all over.
The points
Although
too.
Alex spun, he's only down in 18th and not last.
And I see Skither got himself into the points, started all the way in P19, and he's up in the P10 at the end of the second lap. I think that's more wild as George down the inside gets it done on the main straight. Says, screw you, TB, I take the spot back now. And
Cookie.
clearly, Leo just Skither doing a Leo Lund kind of move, kind of maneuvering through the field.
In striking distance on Jack Miles. Ding all over the back of TB. Look at this already. Exiting turn 3. TB has no grip on those hards. Ding on the inside, propelling ahead. And he'll keep the place now. Exiting turn 5. Miniko getting Night Owl because Night Owl in the background you can see dropping places. ABS off is affecting him. Penguin lost 1 to Netsky. So we're trading places whether it's for 5th place or last place. While that's happening, DRS did get enabled a few laps ago, and Cookie still in striking distance of Jack Miles, who was just weaving and bobbing down that main straight, trying to break the slipstream Cookie was in.
Yeah, but also Gecko is right on the back end of Cookie to try and eyeball the opportunity to get himself into the second place. Also a little further back, looks like Willow could be eyeballing JDK for a move. He's going for it on the inside of the final corner, and Willow is up in the 8th.
Skither's going to try to get JTK now, and will he down the main straight? Yes. Skither's next target is Willow. Skither, since starting there back in P19, has already got up to P9. And this is similar, very esque to Jacob EN, who won his first and only race around this circuit. While that was happening, Night Owl's been shifted back to last place on our running order. Top 12 remain in DRS. We have Goat Lee, JTK, and Knight at the back of that train, battling for the last points position. I do want to look at Skither and see if he is doing anything different, because this is also another driver, I believe, on wheel, and not struggling around the circuit.
I just noticed on the interval chart here, yeah, Ding is
dive bomb. Gecko
dive bomb by Gecko
sends it and gets second place over Cookie.
That was a very nice maneuver right there in the 4-mile corner. I've seen a couple of those done in the past here in RPL. I've even done one of them before, and that was a really stroke of magic by Gecko there.
Doesn't it feel nice to do it? Well, it felt nice for Gecko, especially considering
yes.
It was on his biggest rival in RPL, I would say, Cookie. 5/10. That gap's coming down on the main straight, but nothing coming down too much. TB and DRS range on Ding. Willow, Skither in this train. How about further back? Aaron Maxwell G loves to take a place. He'll take 13th over Red Fire. We switch back to our leaders because Gecko is reeling in Jack Miles. And I think he's got a lot of pace, but he's got to be careful in how he utilizes it.
He also has to be careful on gaining track limits if he's not too careful. Just mean we're all a little further back. It's a bit of a 3-car fight between Maxwell, Miniko, and Red Fire.
Hold on, we gotta talk about Willow here. He bumped TB a moment ago and almost thought about going for a move, but didn't. Look at these tires, Titan. TB started on the hards. Oh, spin, collision, Alex and Miniko. It's another coming together for these two, except this time it's together rather than separately. I was just gonna say, Titan, why in the world is TB started on the hard tires compared to his teammate on the mediums?
Your guess is as good as mine. TB has a unique aura in regards to saying the strategy, but the problem is it's gonna bite him in the butt because he is not in DRS range of Ding. Willow says, "I'll take it. Thank you very much." It was the wax the dog. Here's Skither. He gets by TB.
Switcheroo!
Get back. Switchback. Yes, it is. On the inside, does he get it? No, but he's trying. Skipper will have an opportunity out of 4. Here he comes. DRS
Look who's
engaged.
left without
Overtake
DRS.
engaged. Ding gets past George. Skither slings it by and is ahead of Willow in P7. So Skither
2 and
up
1.
12 spots now.
It looked like it works out, and it did. It did work out for Skither. Up to 7th now after starting P19. Miniko gets the move done on Netsky back here outside of the points. And Netsky nudging Miniko now. He wants to fight this one back. But yeah, George on the softs, Maxwell on the softs, Alex on the softs. Everybody except for Night Owl and TB besides them on the medium compound tire here. So we'll see how that plays out. But nonetheless, as you said, Willow lost DRS there to Ding and George, who were fighting it out. Skither back in DRS pursuit there, towing those guys along. They also lost DRS, Ding and George, to our top 4 who can fight this out. Gecko closing in on Jack, but not making a move. How about 5th place now? George on the softs, behind Ding, and staying behind Ding. Further back, Maxwell and Redfire, they swap it for 13th place.
And also Alex Norris and Torn Penguin switch over. That's for P15 back there. But yeah, with George and Ding, they are quite a ways back, almost 3 seconds behind as Miniko clears Alex Norris for the 16th position. But yeah, I know this, that when Skither does get onto approach and passes Ding and George at some point, he's gonna have a little bit of work to do to try to reel in that top 4.
Hold on. Knights just muscled his way past JTK, entering turn 8, and that's a crash.
Oh, Netsky off.
Netsky off, and has damage on both end plates. So that carbon fiber that went flying in the air will have to be repaired on that Alpine. Nonetheless, still a 4-horse race at the front of our field, and you know we spoke about in qualifying, a potential first win on the cards, enter MKBS. Just waiting in the wings while he watches our top 2 fight it out. Gecko's on the button, and Gecko goes through! Gecko leads the Grand Prix now on lap 8.
Very great execution maneuver by Gecko to get past Jack into turn number 1. And now, coming out of 4, he's going to have to try to hold it off as Goat Lee is our first driver into the
6th
penalty
place,
club.
Titan. This is closer. George is trying to hang on over Skither. George went defensive. Skither's on the attack. Inside line for Skither. Big send, and Skither pulls it up. Oh, George got tagged. Willow spun him around.
Whoopsie.
Netsky's out.
If that's on Willow's part, unfortunately, that gets submitted. That's going to be a penalty on Willow for causing the collision. That was a complete oops on Willow's part there.
Another Portimao race where George is in trouble. This time, it's not lap 1, and he's outside the points.
Yikes.
Game over for Netsky. He got a 10-second sped in the pit lane, and he would rather be whipped for 3 hours straight than drive Tier 1 without practice again, he says.
Oh, no.
Jack Miles in the slipstream of Gecko, who sets the fastest lap. Jack's now on the button, and Jack reclaims the lead now. It's a cat and mouse game between our 1st and 2nd place drivers. How about Skither? Up to P5 after starting last. This is incredible.
Fly like an eagle, the season 6 and 7 champion.
We said he still has it in him, and he is showing why a potential 3rd title, although it's not on the cards this season, we could be looking at it next game.
Little contact between Ding and Skither in the braking zone. Ding thought about going for an
JTK
overtake.
this time now, Titan, at turn 5.
Yeah.
Spin! Another collision Miniko's been in! Miniko, Penguin, Alex. Miniko got affected the worst.
My lord.
It has not been going the way of the co-TP and the Academy Assistant for Ferrari, Miniko and Alex. What an up and down day for them.
Ay. Talk about a mess in the head for those guys. But you know, I noticed that with Jack and Gecko brawling, switching it over for the lead and all that stuff, I think is Gecko going to be going for a move? I
don't know. It's going to be
maybe,
close. Probably
maybe.
not.
No, not close enough. But I was going to say, if, while these two are battling it out, it's bringing Cookie and KBS closer.
Look at this, down the main straight. Oh, could have got nasty into turn one. Luckily it didn't. But Academy teammates are side by side. Goldley wasn't giving an inch to George, who's on that outside line
close.
now.
That was close
And
between
George.
Penguin and Alex.
I know, everywhere you look, dishing it out. George covering off the teammate, shutting the door there. Look at this battle for 15 still continuing. Miniko banging into the side of Penguin. Penguin giving the squeeze, and Miniko has to go in the escape road. Comes back on alongside Maxwell, and we're almost 3 wide. Penguin gave the place back. Maxwell got another one, while Penguin gave not just 1 place up, but 2.
I think he intended to just give it up to just Miniko only, because he was like, okay, I think I did you a little dirty there in that little battle on the exit, so I'll forfeit the spot because I'm being nice, and then wound up biting him in the butt because Max took advantage.
Gecko
Like, oh,
with the
you, free
re-ring
position.
open, repassing Jack on lap 11, a third of the way done, and Gecko has got another one done on Jack.
And George is in. So the guys on the soft will be coming in very shortly. So Max is in,
too.
George is in, which means Alex Norris could be coming in within the next lap or so.
Miniko breezing by Alex. Night Owl and Penguin staying put. George goes to the mediums. Max, I expect to do the same. However, we'll see if there's any other choices.
Yep, mediums he goes.
This has been quite up and down, quite all around. A bit chaotic for 11 laps about to be complete in Portimao.
Right up and down, just like the track layout.
Exactly. You've got that right. Gecko 4/10 ahead of Jack. Cookie 5/10 drift from Jack. And KVS still in this train, waiting for his moment to shine. And right now it's not going to happen, but you watch how these two leaders have swapped it around numerous times. It's not over for a guy like Cookie or KVS to pounce. They're just waiting for the right moment. But down the main straight, Jack re-overtaking Gecko on lap 12. Jack Miles re-inherits the lead. Further behind, Ding and Skither have been in this DRS train, but it's been a level pegging gap to NRM KVS.
JTK making a move.
The same. And he is going up to 9th now. The Dutchman clears the Haas driver. Night Owl gets Alex. We're passing all over in this lap on the main straight. Now back at 14th.
And many people switching on over as Miniko now into the penalty box. This time on the exit at turn 2, that's where it happened. And Knights thought about trying to make a move on JTK, but JTK kept them back. Lee currently in 11th right now, but he does have that 3-second penalty, unfortunately. So even if he gets past either one of these two, he's got to pull a gap in order to maintain that position. But
whoa, Miniko off! Into the wall! Big hit for Miniko! Miniko clipped the clipped the curb, and then overcorrected right into the barrier at Samsung corner.
almost
Turn
looks
8.
disastrous
Disastrous
how
again.
Skither went off in Belgium. That was almost
Speaking
as
of
scary as
Skither,
when he went off, yeah.
4.5 seconds behind NRM KVS, still in the DRS train, and still in the fight behind. 9th place, back to Knights.
Yeah, Knight's not giving it up at all here as Alex Norris does come to the pits to get off of those soft compound tires. And looks like Miniko is in as well. He has sped and he's out. So that is unfortunate for Miniko.
I think he's very frustrated with how it gone.
Go
He
Lee on the
overcorrected
inside of
it.
JTK in turn 5, contact, little bumping, and Goat Lee gets ahead of JTK to take the P10 spot.
But remember, Goatley does have a penalty at the expense of that. I was going to say with Miniko, I saw it coming. I don't know if he kept it going into the wall on purpose or not, but he was clearly frustrated. He could have gone back into the gravel instead of tapping the barrier. But we have Red Fire Tiger, our second driver still left in this race. Now a track limit penalty for the Frenchman. Gecko is in striking distance. Will Gecko go for it now? A lot of battery to spare. He is in the slipstream of Jack, pulling out alongside, kinda? Not really. Staying.
He's biding his time and waiting for another opportunity to go for an attack on the inside of Jack. Probably will be into turn 5 here.
Miniko just gave some strong words in the Ferrari Academy server. He said, "Why are we ramming into each other like it's effing NASCAR?" We know how Miniko feels. He's been frustrated. But you know who's been frustrated sitting behind? Willow as well. He's going to go on the Academy teammate. Wheel-to-wheel combat here. Ding push onto the curb. Contact made. Willow gets the place. 6th place is his with a huge dive bomb with huge success.
Very nice wheel-to-wheel action right there. Tight wheel-to-wheel race between these two, and it was really good stuff on Willow's part. Now he's right behind Skither to look for a P5 right now. But currently, speaking of which, with Skither in P5 in live championship results right now, Skither at this moment is looking to be eliminated from World Drivers' Championship contention. Yes.
Big wiggle wobble from the American.
Oh, yes. I saw that while I was on board with Willow. As Willow
Gecko staying in line. Miniko says it's his Academy teammates who's been playing games with him.
He's going for it.
There you go. 5th place. I
was
just going to say, Miniko said who's out of this race, it was his Academy teammates playing the games. But yeah, Willow up to 5th. Fair play.
Yeah, very much so. And I'm just taking a look at the last laps that was done by these guys. Now, so Skither compared to his teammate, Skither 0.08 of a second faster than KVS, while Willow, courtesy of DRS, Willow 0.4 faster than KVS on that last lap.
Night Owl currently remaining ahead of Penguin. Penguin was going to shoot up the outside. Maybe try for a switcheroo here. Exiting turn 5. And our yesterday's Tier 2 winner is battling a driver he could have fought for the win. Luckily enough, Penguin was off in the distance, but not today. He'll be fighting for 13th with Night Owl still, as Night Owl maintains the place.
Night Owl and Born Penguin, both of them have a little bit of a rivalry from Tier 2, and having a lot of scrapping and fighting here. But they are just really roaring here as the lead has changed again. Gecko back on the main straight and ahead, and more changes. Skither gets back past Willow, and TB clears Ding to get himself into 7th.
I think TB will realize these hard tires are starting to finally come into full effect for him, but too little too late. He's lost too many places. Goat Lee gets Knights here, but Knights tries the up and under, and Knights does it on Goat Lee right here. Almost a little bash and bang involved in that, but Penguin clears Night Owl down the main straight. And while that was happening, our two Sauber drivers
now giving up at this moment.
We'll slide with this too. Yeah, Goat Lee on the inside now.
Slamming the door.
A little cut back, but doesn't go to success. Yeah, well, Dainty
George
says
is off.
Oh, yellow.
George
yellow.
is off in the ball. Say George is just got the curb in turn 1 and just completely whacked it off, and he is just off on the wall and now behind both Saubers.
And remember, we spoke about the difference of wheel and pad drivers. George is a wheel driver. He is having his struggle right now. And I was just going to say what Dainty said here. Move! Gecko! Under threat, and Gecko passed again for the lead. Jack Miles re-inherits P1. Just going to say with what Dainty said about TB, who's sitting down in 7th. If he doesn't go softs in the instant, then he's, well, limiting his success tonight, and you got that right. JTK blinks first of these 3, and Goat Lee upper edge on Knights now for 9th. He'll get back past.
This is interesting. So on the last lap, comparing the Ferraris with KVS and Skidder, the gap, the last lap, Skither 6/10 faster than KVS.
Seems like Goatley wasn't happy at nights. He was just weaving the wheel as he let him go by. George is out. Red Bull are going to be relying on Aegis Gecko to continue the streak of points finishes. If they get it tonight, they'll have 86 points finishes in a row. A lot of shoes to fill, Gecko. Good luck. He's in a good spot right now, though, so he shouldn't have to worry, but yeah. George, not his day. Gecko, though.
Not good at all.
Right behind Jack. And
Skither's in,
behind Jack.
TB's in.
But what tire do they go to? Skither was on the mediums. TB was on the hards. TB and Skither. Skither on the softs. TB on the mediums?
Yes.
What? Right.
I think TB is just holding himself back, I think.
He really is. I don't think I think he thinks he can't do the switch. But here we go, exiting the pit lane. Skither, TB, both behind the Night Owl and Penguin fight. They've got to make easy work of these two. The good thing for our top four, whenever they do pit, they will be able to be ahead of this train. And Night Owl pulls over for Skither.
Yeah, so Skither not
also
waiting.
over.
He gets past both of them. He's like, nah, not my fight, not willing to risk it. But now here comes TB coming in, hard and fast, saying, hello, I'm here now. Let's see who else makes the blink.
Gecko.
Gecko's in.
He just got it woed down to 50 miles per hour, our speed limit. And a good point that Reese makes, they patched using the AI under safety cars or during qualifying to optimize your tire temps. So you need to weave now to get them. So it's a fair point that you will be watching here with the drivers pitting.
Making a move on the inside of Night Owl.
Oh.
Night Owl is actually fighting him back.
Wheel banging. Here goes
second.
Night Owl on Penguin. So they let Skither go, but they're not going to let TB go. TB gets Penguin. Now next target, Night Owl. Red Fire behind Gecko. That's where Gecko peeled out. 3 seconds adrift from Goatley. And by the way, Gecko on the softs. TB! Oh, he tried the crossover, but no success. Night Owl gonna let him go this time.
Yeah, but that really hurt TB there because before they pitted, he was in the train with Skither, but now he is 3 seconds behind him, and that is really going to hurt him. And Gecko, by the way, is on the softs, and Skither right now is 2.8 seconds behind Gecko right now, and KVS is in yes. I wonder who else will be going in very soon.
We'll see if
Knight's having a
also chooses
lag
softs.
spike.
He does. Yeah, I saw that. Red Fire also behind Skither. Keep that a note. But where does KVS cycle out? Knights is in, but he speeds!
Fast.
Oh, 10-second awarded to the Haas. Red Fire
Too fast by 6 miles an hour.
overtaken by Skither. And Skither will be
Cookie's playing
behind
with Jack.
KVS, but only just. Look at this. Skither has had a monstrous outlap and 2.
Skither up with his teammate, so the two Ferrari teammates together again, and now they'll probably be like, all right, KVS is probably like, okay, Skither, I'm just come out of the pit lane on these softs, let's work together, let's get to this field, let's get some magic done.
Little ding-dong battle here between Night Owl and Penguin. I believe it was Penguin that time who sent one, and Night Owl got the place back. Goatley lets Gecko through, and now Goatley, just remember, he is on loan. There you go. Our 2 leaders, we'll see where they cycle out, because Skither, being that far behind KVS, just keep in mind, KVS 2 seconds off Gecko, even though there was a lap difference in pitting. But Skither gained 2 seconds on our leaders, maybe 3 you could say, based on that undercut. We'll see how that does affect him in the long run. But yeah, we're looking at the drivers coming out of the pit lane. Jack Miles and Cookie. Jack Miles exiting now. And this is going to be very tight. Look at behind. Cookie almost hits the Ferrari. Jack Miles coming out behind KVS, but contact with Skither. Side by side, they wheel bang, but Jack Miles is now in a Ferrari sandwich. More banging.
Yeah, so Gecko gets both Jack and Cookie. KVS gets Jack and Cookie. Skither got Cookie, but nearly got Jack, and that was really scary moments there. I mean, Cookie and Skither almost collided, and Jack and Skither nearly collided. Wow.
Gecko is going to have to hope for some sort of miracle here. The good thing for him, though, is he's 2 seconds into the distance. The problem for him is he's not in a DRS train here to swap. He will be hoping and praying these guys behind fight it out. However, NRM KVS is in a net P2. Willow speeds. He's our next victim to the pit lane of speeding. Ding. Also in, but he does not get a speeding penalty at the expense of that.
Speaking of the battles here comes Jack on the back. KVS goes around and passes. Jack is back in second.
But the gap has come down. 1.9 seconds now. If they continue to DRS swap at the right moments, they will catch Gecko before the end of this race. Remember, Gecko pitted 2 laps earlier than Jack. He also pitted 1 lap later than Skither. So keep that in mind in terms of the fighting. But Skither, fair play from starting basically plumb last. Well, it was plumb last.
Yeah.
Penguin on softs. Goatly, JTK, and Alex in this fight for 10th. Remember, Alex has pitted, but pitted way earlier. And he's on mediums. TB's on mediums. Night Owl, Maxwell, also on mediums. But JTK in this train is on the hard compound tire and having to defend from Goatly now. These two collided in Singapore last season, or this season. Big smash! Goatly slams into JTK, and just as I said earlier this season in Singapore, to correct myself, they collided and it happens again.
My goodness. Wow, I'm messing half there. And
He's
also,
bringing the gap down.
Yeah, he is. And also, I do want to note one other thing, is that despite Willow having that 10-second, if the race ended now, well, guess what? He's only going to lose 1 spot to Ding, and that's it. Well, now Willow making a move on TB, up to 6.
TB really has hampered his progress here by doing medium hard, similar to what the McLarens did in Tier 3, or at least one of them did. But it doesn't make sense to me, Titan. You can do soft medium around here very easily. And TB, I would understand going hard soft, but he didn't even do that. Why does he think he can't do that? Is there something limiting him around here? I don't know.
Well,
It's clear to me, Titan, that ever since Singapore, the championship definitely has changed its way. Currently, right now, before this race, 56 points was the gap. Jack will be extending that gap. 18 points on offer there for Jack right now, excluding fastest lap. And TB would have 8. If we finish this race the way it's at, it'll either be a 66 or a 67 point gap TB is behind Jack by.
And you know, speaking of the World Drivers' Championship gap here, if I would say...
Hold on.
Like
Cookie sets fastest lap. Jack Miles takes back the lead.
And Skither makes himself super wide to keep Cookie back, but Cookie's not to be denied. Flyby!
Huge lunge! Cookie on the inside has pulled it off, but Skither wants to diamond the corner and try and find a way past. He cannot for now. Skither's gonna have to try the outside line, the long way around on Cookie. Now he'll switch back here, and Skither has not pulled it off. Good racing etiquette between these two Americans and good friends. Former teammates.
I know one thing, as it gets closer to the end here, if Skither is on the final lap, if Skither is still in 4th place, it gets 4th place back, and KVS is still in 3rd, I would say I mean, I know Invade was probably watching the stream, but maybe I would say KVS should I think Invade should probably consider have KVS KVS turn over the third place podium to Skither in hopes of Skither maintaining his contention in the World Drivers' Championship.
Yeah, and look at this right now. P9 ahead of Alex Norris. Knights, I know we've not talked a lot about him, but he's been really good today. Might still get P9. Skither's still trying to attack Cookie, but nothing doing right there. I think Skither has to do this, though, because where his teammates at, NRM KVS, I would say he's in the catbird seat. And right now, he's doing a good job with it.
Yeah, very much so. And I'm just taking a look very quickly. Whoa, Skither had an evil moment on there. Okay.
Here we go. Goat Lee up to 10th now. Gets Alex Norris, who has no penalties and would be getting a point for Sauber as things stand, but further back, JTK has fallen off of a cliff because he is on the hard compound tire. He was 10th moments ago. He's back in 13th, struggling for grip. You could see it visibly.
Okay, so I was just taking a peek at the top 5, seeing what they are for warnings, for track limit warnings. Jack, none. Gecko, Skither, and KVS have 1 apiece. Cookie has 2. So if Cookie gets 1 more, he's going to be in a penalty box.
Gecko, is he falling away from race leader Jack? He was 6/10 back there out of the final corner. Galp corner. I know, I had to correct myself. I had to figure that out. Samsung is turn 8, Galp is the final corner. I got those two mixed up, but we figured it out. We're good. Yeah, Gecko, time is ticking. 5/10 back from Jack. And look at this, red fire on the inside of Alex. At the final corner, oh, they touch!
I think Cookie had a bit
baby,
of a rear
that was
lock.
close. Luckily, red fire outpowering Alex with the help of DRS. Alex didn't get it. He was not close enough to Goatley, I believe. No contest between Night Owl and Maxwell as well for 14th, but Jack Miles, right now, if he wins tonight, 8th in the all-time win list to himself. He's got it tied with Maxwell and Portley. He's looking for his 11th career win, but also Jack's looking for his 5th win on the season. Cookie!
Oh, KVS
Skither,
around!
They passed KVS because he spun. What's happened to KVS? Trouble
Oh, man.
for the driver from Finland and a potential podium gone.
Oh, my God. That is
What
one.
happened?
I want to know what to do.
Well, I'm going to look. I'm going to go look.
Oh, man.
I would love to look. But right now, TB is hounding the back of that Ferrari driver. And he... Oh, KVS's controller shut off.
Oh, no.
Let's see on his stream. I'm going to look and send this in the Twitch chat for you folks. Going through Portimao corner, exiting that corner, entering the sector split, hugging the inside curb. He lost the rear, and then the car turned right before that happened. And then his controller shut off. It put him in AI. Holy cow. Big moment for KVS.
That's just something you really don't want to have happen as a controller failure to go in the most worst of times, and that just sucks.
If his controller shut off while his car was going straight and it didn't jerk the wheel right, he still may have been in contention for a top 5. Now, he might only finish top 5 on track or on the penalties from just Willow's situation. That'd be it. Yeah. But the cars on the main street are weaving and bobbing, trying to break the slipstream, and everyone's staying in single file fashion.
Well, now the thing I was saying about where the KVS was in 3rd and Skither got 4th, and the thing for KVS and Skither to switch, Skither could still be in the championship, that is now thrown out the window completely.
Yeah, and he's just going to be trying to hold off TB, who might have better tire spinning in this race, but you just don't know. He would have been able to be right on the back of the train, but what can you do? That's a shame.
Yeah, very.
I don't know why the clip
shame
went wrong. I'll try to resend it.
I know earlier that collision that that Willow had with George. I know if that gets submitted, I know Willow will look at a penalty, but I do know that even with him getting a penalty, I mean, all he'll do is just give him a couple of penalty points because Willow is currently almost 24 seconds ahead of Knights in P9.
Yeah, you do raise a good point.
Well,
Well,
top four are still chasing each other. And TV all over the
Jack
back
is keeping him at bay. Yeah,
KBS.
I really wonder, although cool wiggle there from Gecko, I really wonder, Cookie and Skither sitting in this train at the tail end of it, when will they make their move? By the way, Torn Penguin, about to get lapped here, could give one of these guys DRS. I really hope he doesn't, because we want to see a proper dogfight for the win.
Well, it's been a little while since we've seen someone getting lapped on track. It's been a little while since we saw someone getting lapped on track, and it's unfortunate for it to be Penguin of all things. Penguin's just
Here we go!
not
Cookie
having
and Gecko!
great-
Second place up for grabs! Cookie wants it now! TB penalty! Gecko's getting defensive, and Gecko keeps the place! But how much time is he going to lose to Jack Miles for being this defensive now?
Looks like a couple of tenths got lost in that little scuffle.
But only tenths, luckily, because we're not losing DRS to Jack, is what these guys will be saying. DRS, unused this time. Gecko used a lot of that battery exit in the final corner. Cookie wants to go now. He's not
Cookie's
had a
going
podium
now.
since last season. He got one taken away earlier this season, and he wants second place.
Oh boy, here we go.
Cookie backs out and concedes the place.
That was some
Torn
good
Penguin's
fight in
in.
there.
Torn Penguin's in, he gets out of the way, and it puts him on used mediums. That's a shame.
I was gonna say, if he got stuck on the used mediums, if he got put on fresh sauce, he could try to steal fastest lap, which is currently being held by Willow.
Right now, NRM, KVS, and TB are squawking around for 6th place, but KVS has the advantage of being ahead of a driver with a penalty and having a driver with a 10-second penalty for speeding in front of him. Red Fire gets the better end of Goatley, but we're coming to 3 laps to go this time. I think Cookie is not wanting to wait around any longer. He has to go. He realizes if he wants a chance for this victory, be a first-time victory in quite a while, he has to go now. Or if not, he has to have Gecko do so. And Gecko's using a lot of battery. Jack's not.
You know, despite him having that 3-second penalty, TB down in P7, by the way, just want to know, despite him in P7 and that huge gap around and everything, I would say,
Skither.
honestly, if TB wanted to, yeah, Skither on the ends looking for a move.
He's not waiting. Bob,
Yeah, he's
bang.
not
Oh,
waiting.
lag. TB gets KVS.
TB got KVS there, but he will lose it because of the penalty. But I was going to say, if
Then Maxwell,
if Dinks
you were saying?
stayed around with them, probably TB, if he wanted to, he could pit, go on to very first sauce and steal fastest lap on Willow. He would only drop
You're
down
right.
to P8, but that's it.
You're right. Skither's getting feisty. Gecko got feisty with KVS earlier. Cookie has a slide right there. Further behind, Goatley
Goatley.
back into 10th. And this race for
Yeah.
10th is not done, folks. They both have 3 seconds. They just can't lose the time to Alex. We're coming to 2 laps to go, and Gecko's reeled Jack in a bit.
Alex Norris is actually within 3 seconds of Red Fire at this moment.
Gecko is looking for win number 6. He'd be equal with Malley on the all-time win list. Looks like Cookie and Skither are losing touch. Jack is trying to get win number 11 and his 5th of the season. But also for the 2nd time in his RPL career, he'd be winning back-to-back races in F1. He almost did that last season at Austria for the 2nd time, but he lost that in the stewards room. He's trying to do it for a 5th time this season and a 2nd time in his RPL career, back-to-back. But it's not over. We're dishing it out here behind. KVS gets 6 back.
Yeah, so KVS not giving it up against TV here. It's maintaining that 6th place spot. But literally, whoa! Almost collision between Cookie and Gecko. And that
Wouldn't be the
braking from
first
the turn
time.
5. Yeah. but literally with Skither right behind Cookie. So literally this last lap, the last lap coming up on this main street, if Cookie wants to make the move, if Skither wants to make the move on Cookie, this is the time to do it. Because literally he right now is looking to be eliminated from the World Drivers' Championship at this moment, and he has to get it done now. He's not waiting. He's going down the inside.
Lunge to the inside. Skither's got the podium place, but can he keep it? This is all to try to get second place or maybe a win if Gecko or Jack slip up. They're slipping up for third. Skither is the outside. Cookie is the inside. They're wheel to wheel. Very equal down this. And it's neck to neck. It's Cookie getting third back. Final lap underway. Gecko's on the battery, but he's not going to get there in time just yet.
Oh, Skither just couldn't get it done. He needs to make a shot somewhere to make it. Oh, rear lock by Cookie.
Contact! Gecko almost got to the back of Jack as well. Gecko's on the battery. Is this his last chance? Very defensive for third. It's an American brawl. Cookie with an up and under. Contact!
Holy cow!
This is quite the race for third place, but our race win is still up for grabs. Gecko's on the battery. They've got similar ERS management. Gecko thought about it and didn't go for it, but he's got a penalty.
Oh! Too soon on the turn. And now they held Skither. Skither's looking at second.
And Cookie is looking at returning to the podium. Jack Miles, for the 11th time in his RPL F1 career, is going to be victorious. He'll also be extending the championship lead. But back-to-back wins for Jack. Once again, he wins the Portuguese Grand Prix. Skither's second, and Cookie is back on the podium. He ends a 26 race drought. Well done, Cookie. KVS gets 5th, Gecko 4th, Ding 6th, TB 7th, Willow 8th, and FRC Knights back in the points. He'll be down in 9th.
Yeah, but also we might have I wonder what Goat Lee's gonna try to do, if he could try to pull a last second miracle to try to get that 10th stolen off of Red Fire as he comes across. Oh, I forgot Knights had the speeding penalty. I forgot about it.
Oh. And he lost time there at the end to these guys. Knights out of the points. Red Fire gets 9th. Goatly 10th.
Oh, I completely forgot about the speeding penalty Knights had.
Me too. Jack Miles, for the 2nd time in his F1 career, 5th time this season, wins back-to-back races and wins for the 5th time this season.
Oh my god.
Game will give Skither driver of the day. Do you agree?
Oh yes.
I do too. It's either him or Jack. Maybe that battle for P9. And congrats to Goatly, his first tier 1 point.
And honestly, I would say, but yeah, Skither driver today. But if I had to say, heartbreak of the race would be KVS spinning out from 3rd because of that controller malfunction. That's a heartbreak for me.
Yeah, big heartbreak for KVS. Either way, we're just waiting on the top step of the podium celebrations. Our P1, P2, P3 spot. You can see our P1 spot. Throwing fists in the air and punching the air. Showing us the fighter he is. The Welshman. A Miles Masterclass. And happy birthday, Jack. He gets to celebrate his birthday weekend with his birthday yesterday with a win today. How about that from the Welshman? We lost 2 from the event. Miniko and Netsky. I don't get to see the results, but if you can, please go over them.
I got it. Yeah, so Jack is your winner with Skither in 2nd, Cookie 3rd, and then we had the rest of the top 10. Gecko, KVS, Ding, TV, Willow, Red Fire, Goat Lead, top 10, and then the rest of the field. Knights, Norris, Night Owl, GTK, Maxwell, and Torn Penguin is the rest of that. And we lost 3 people. We lost George, Nitsky, and one other.
Yeah, thank you. I forgot about George. Fair play Cookie as well. Welcome back. Ending that 26 race drought. His last podium? Any guesses before this?
Wait, what?
Any guesses on when his last podium was before this?
Whose last podium? Cookies?
Cookie.
Probably sometime last season.
Yep. Season 11. Great Britain.
Wow.
It's been a while for Cookie. He lost a lot of podiums in the storage room this and last season. Just remember that. Fair play. I'm happy to see him and Jack kept it clean, as well as him and Skither. Mainly him and Skither. Him and Gecko too. Yeah, if Gecko didn't turn in too early, man, what could have been for Gecko? He would have been on the podium for Red Bull. So, Jack earns all-time his 48th podium. Cookie with his 29th. And Skither got on the podium too, so that's his 57th. So with Jack winning, TB was what, 7th in the end, you said? Yeah, 7th.
Yes.
And Willow behind him at fastest lap, so Jack extends his lead by 19 points. Our gap in the championship heading into China next week, 75 points. We could have the championship won next week. Hard to believe that after the way we started this season.
Yeah, you're completely right. Yeah. The championship can come to an end. Can come to an end next week. Because I mean, Skither being only 7 points behind, he drops to 7 points behind. So he goes to actually wait a minute, 10. Wait, no, I could be wrong. Wait. 7. Wait a minute. I'm completely wrong. Yeah, I'm completely wrong. Okay. Never mind. I am.
You
My
were gonna
math
say?
was so horrible. The 13 points that's for Skither. It was actually for Leo, not Skither. I'm so sorry about that. But yeah, Skither, despite getting second, because of Willow getting the fastest lap, Skither is actually eliminated. Because 25 to 18, that's only 7. I mean, Skither's 105 points behind Jack, which means
You're right.
It's down to TB and Jack. I horribly apologize for getting my math wrong completely. I
That is
horribly
okay.
apologize. But yeah, Skither is
Better be sorry.
sadly eliminated from the World Drivers' Championship. If he did have fastest lap, he would have still been in contention. But if he had the fastest lap in Portsmouth, finishing second, the only way for him to actually get a chance to win the championship is literally, and I'm not joking for this, he literally has to win fastest lap every single race for the last 4 races, and Jack to get squat shit.
That's one way to put it. But yeah, we have no F2 this weekend, folks.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay. We have no F2 this weekend, folks. Remember, F2 has their season canceled for the rest of the game cycle. So we'll start next weekend off at Tier 3 on Thursday in Canada. Spa for Tier 2. And China for F1. Titan, any closing thoughts? I'll just give mine. Congrats to Redfire and P9 as well for Williams. Another point for them.
Yeah, I definitely fair credit for Redfire getting himself a couple of points. And Goat Lee getting his first ever 2-1 points. Very good stuff for him. And then Skither carving his way through the field. He would have had it, but unfortunately he lost. Unfortunately, not enough to maintain the to stay in the championship. But I mean, there is always next season. Ready to go.
Yeah. You guys do not get unnoticed. So, that will be it from Portimao. Next week, we start the action in Tier 3 around Canada, but we also race in China for F1 next week. Until next time, folks, we'll see you then. Ryan Searles, RPL Titan Iron, your two commentators, signing off. Good night and goodbye.